Hello and welcome back to the 8-Bit Guy. Today I wanted to talk briefly about the famous Random Maze program. It's been covered a lot already by various YouTube channels, including a really good one a few years ago by 8-Bit Show and Tell. The program has been around for a long time, and a lot of people may not know this, but it was actually part of the Commodore 64 user manual. Although the version shown in the manual is actually 3 lines instead of 1. And believe it or not, my first experience to the maze was actually in 1981 because it was in the manual of my Commodore VIC-20 as well. It was probably around earlier than this, but the VIC-20 manual is the oldest publication I've managed to find it in. Interestingly enough, I think the maze actually looks better on the VIC-20 because the C64 and VIC-20 have a slightly different character set, and as you can see, the VIC-20 version looks slightly more uniform. As I said, the official Commodore version is 3 lines, but you can easily enough down-convert this to just 1. After all, line 10 is literally just a clear screen command, which is not necessary. And then you can consolidate the goto command using a colon, and there, you have the single line version. I also realized pretty early on that I could create the maze manually by simply holding down the shift key and randomly pressing the N, M, N keys, and there you go. I also love to experiment with a lot of the demonstration programs in the user manual and would often try making my own variants, like this one that also randomizes the color, or like this that tries to make a maze using a different set of characters. So it seems that over the years there's become a challenge for people to figure out ways to take the maze program and either make it shorter or to make it faster. And I think the version Robin showed off in his video a few years ago is probably the fastest version I've ever seen. At least it runs completely in BASIC. However, I think I've got a couple of things to contribute. I think I've managed to create one that is even shorter because it's actually 0 lines of BASIC. And then I've got another one that's a few more lines longer, but is probably the fastest version ever made. First, we'll take a look at how to make it 0 lines. You might look at this code and say, well, there's no way to make it smaller because it's already just 1 line. Well, watch and learn. Many people don't know this, but you can actually make 4 loops and execute them right at the basic prompt without any line numbers at all, as you can see here. But what if you wanted to run indefinitely? Well, the way to do that is just to add the command step 0. That means it'll never advance the counter, so you wind up with an infinite loop. And so there you have it, a 0-line version of the maze. Okay, now what about making it faster? Well, this is the fastest known version of the maze program, at least without using any machine language. Now, every basic trick known is used here, but I figured out a way to make this program slightly longer but run incredibly fast. And I'm basically using 3 new ways of doing things. Let's start with calculating a random number. All the other versions use BASIC's R&D function, which is kind of slow no matter how you use it. But another way to get random numbers is by reading the noise register on the SID chip, like this. Now, once you set up the noise channel, you can just keep peaking the register and get random numbers. Here's an example program that generates endless amounts of random numbers using this method. The next trick is creating a very fast decimal to binary converter, and the best way to do that is to create a lookup table. So when my maze program first runs, you'll see it working away doing something for a little bit before it starts, and what it's doing is creating a lookup table with a string array of $. Then once it's done, you can quickly convert any number, such as 42, into binary, and there you go. Or if you'd like to count from 0 to 16, you can do that too. So what if we combined this fast decimal binary system with the random generator I just showed you? Well, this is what you get. A bunch of 0s and 1s flying up the screen. And so the last thing we need to do is change our lookup table. So instead of 0 and 1, we'll use the left slash and the right slash. It's really that simple. There you go. Super fast random maze. Let's do a comparison. Here's the version Robin showed off in his video that was optimized for as much as possible for speed. And I actually think the limiting factor on my version is the kernel's ability to scroll the screen any faster. So I'm not sure this would run any faster even if it were written in assembly language. And there we have it. And this is probably the shortest video I've ever made or ever will make. But I hope you found it interesting, and I've got a real zinger coming for you for the next video. So as always, thanks for watching.